what the fuck is up? We are the Street Smokers! Make some noise! Let's go!
I could go and read your mind. Think about your dumb face all the time. Living in your glass house, I'm outside. Looking in a big blue eyes. Did it just to hurt me, make me cry. Smiling through it all, yeah, that's my life. You're an idiot, now I'm sure. Now I'm positive I should go and warn you. Bet you think that she is so cool. Kicking back on your couch, making eyes from across the room. Wait, I think I've been there too. Don't read your mind. Don't read your mind. Think about your dumb face all the time. Bet you think that she is so cool. Kicking back on your couch, making eyes from across the room. Wait, I think I've been there too. Don't read your mind. Don't read your mind. Think about your dumb face all the time. Don't read your mind. Bet you think that she is so cool.
All right, there we go. Let me.
Howdy doodly.
How we doing?
Oh crap. Oh?
Twitch. I need my own Twitch. There we go. Alright, tweets are all out. Thank God. I can cut that off.
Alright, I really need to speed up buying that new camera.
Why?
This camera's fighting for its life.
If only.
Yeah. There we go.
Nice. He's alive.
Yeah, I was helping my brother-in-law move his fridge and I forgot my phone at home.
Ah, way to go. Big fridge, mini
So I
I'm
couldn't
assuming
tell
a mini
you.
Fridge.
Very large fridge.
You never know. Maybe you needed help with the mini fridge.
It's a
You
beer
ate-
fridge. If he was an alcoholic.
You
That's about
Indiana
it.
folks aren't used to, lifting heavy shit like that. It's just a different world.
Yeah.
When
Hope you're ready for the Hicks versus the Knicks.
the Hicks. Wait, is that the nickname that people were going with? The Hicks versus the Knicks?
Yeah, that's what Pat has called it. That's what everybody's called it. The Hicks versus the Knicks.
I kind of like that a lot.
It's
I'm
so
not gonna
good,
lie.
bro. You can't even be, as some New Yorkers said it. So he was saying it to, slide us, but then
Yeah.
everyone in Indiana went like this. That's actually pretty good. Like, we were about to get mad and went, good for you, bro. We start saying it too.
Oh god, dude, this city's
We
gonna
were
be
like,
on
that's
fire.
too good to hate.
That's the worst part. When a roast is so good that it becomes a nickname, it's like,
Yep.
did you actually do a favor or no?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this series though is full of that. It's just both New Yorkers and Indiana people being psychos to each other, but also respecting the game.
Yep.
Like,
Because I mean, there's as Lunar pointed out, it's not like the Western Conference Finals is really all that hype. Nobody's really talking about it for the most part. Like it feels like the
No,
Super
yeah.
Bowl of media attention is in the Eastern Conference right now.
yeah. I mean, for being real, New York City being good is a huge deal for them, and then Indiana is like not a media driver really, but it is the mecca of basketball. Like it's what you associate with psychopathic basketball watchers. So when you combine that with all the history of the 90s and the thousands as well, like it just becomes a problem. Like this
And-
is a problematic series.
And Indiana basketball
the
right now is
WWE.
just on like a whole other level, right? Like you got Caitlin Clark
It
on
is.
the women's side. You guys are good on the men's side. It seems like everything
True.
is just like trending in the right direction for you guys. And like there's this and then you have Pat obviously as well. It's like massively helping you
Yep.
guys in the media spotlight. That it's like okay, this actually feels like really really hype.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I this is one of those playoff series that like I natively tune into anytime the Knicks are playing just because like it's the nature of it being like around here. You can't avoid it. And it's not like I follow basketball all that consistently, like just in the playoffs really. But you haven't been able to escape this. It's everywhere. It's dominating social media. It's dominating my TikTok feed. It's everywhere.
Yep. Now, if you want to talk about something, you literally have to talk about NBA playoffs right now if you're in New York or Indiana. And I assume Oklahoma and Minnesota are just as hyped, but it's like they just don't, I don't know, they don't have a star who's like, I guess, been placed in yet.
Yeah.
And they don't really have, neither of them have like a crazy history of basketball. So it kind of makes it harder. And neither of them has a guy for social media.
No.
I feel like the Indiana Knicks series is like literally what ESPN has been building to. Just like they could not have begged for a better outcome of Pat and Stephen A. Like they spent all this money to get Pat. They spent all this money on Stephen A. And then both of them, the teams they like in basketball, end up meeting in the finals.
Yep.
And like you can't ask for something better. And everyone's watching too. They're like actually curious. Barstool's talking about another network, like actively, regularly pushing people to another network because they can't stop talking about Pat and Stephen A.
Yep.
Like, you just know it's that good.
Well, it's one of those that like everybody talks about like summer 2016 is like this glorious, like magical summer that everybody kind of strides to in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
It feels like spring 2025 is just like up there with the vibes. Like it
Oh,
just
yeah.
feels like something's different. And I don't know
Yep.
what about it's different, but it's just hitting hard. Although I feel like time is flying by a lot quicker this year for some reason than most other years. I don't
It
know if
is.
you get that perception, but
No, it definitely is. And it's because this season has felt so fast. I mean, even the college basketball tournament, March Madness flew.
dude, that went by so quick.
It was weird.
Oh,
It just was so fast. But it's
it feels
I mean,
like
it's
20 years ago
beautiful,
that we
too.
won the national title.
It does. It does.
Oh.
I've honestly forgotten you like have a title
I know.
this year.
Well, the worst part is like this is how I know I'm football pilled over basketball pilled over everything. So we have a new intern that joined like our section, not like my team specific, but like he was near us in the office, and
Yeah.
I could kind of tell like him and I were heading off because like we're the only two guys in a group of otherwise like 8 girls, and
Yeah.
he comes in, we all introduce ourselves, like I'm asking him about things, and then it's like, you know, where do you go to school? And he's like, Georgia. And immediately
Oh.
I hit him with the, oh, that fucking sucks. And everybody just looks at me. And they're like, huh? And he's like, who you like? And I said, go Gators. And he's like, oh God. And we just start barring right away. And it's just like all the girls are looking at us like, what? And how? And then the one girl that was actually like introducing everybody, like you could tell she's a sports fan, but she's a Boston fan. So she kind of got it, but the rest were just sitting there like, That's a wild thing to say to somebody that you just met on a first name basis.
Yep.
Be like, I don't give a shit. He's a Bulldog fan. I'm gonna remind him that Lagway's the future, and we're gonna bury you into the ground. Just making that very fucking clear. And then he's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well I'm from Wisconsin." I said, "So or Nebraska?" And I'm like, "So wait, were you a Cornhusker or were you a Bulldog?" He said, "No, I was born in Georgia, but then my family moved out to Nebraska." And I was like, "Got it." And
So he's cool with both.
yeah, I told him about you. I said,
That's funny.
I said, whatever you think that you can say to me, just so you know, I have Kirby talk in my ear at least once a week. So everything that you think that you're going to be able to have against me, you don't. All right? I'm ready for it. I've get
already
it elsewhere.
said it. I've already been chirping.
Yep.
And I'm probably like the worst two schools you could have. Georgia and North Carolina has to be like the most annoying thing for any human ever. Because like up until 2021-ish, like 2022, everybody was like, yeah, you like Georgia, but Carolina does all your work. And then all of a sudden I was like, that's crazy. Carolina does all the work, huh? And they're like, you're so annoying. You didn't go to either of them. And I'm like, GI Bill don't pay for out-of-state tuition. What do you want me to do?
Yep.
My fault.
Oh god.
It's crazy though. I mean,
I love it.
yeah, it just sucks for the Oklahoma and Minnesota peeps because like SGA and Ant are awesome like players, but it's just like there's nobody that represents them. I don't know anybody who's like that I can listen to easily and pick out. Like Boston's run last year was everybody listening to Bill Simmons. Because Bill Simmons is that guy you associate with them. Pat has just been embraced ever since he torched the Colts. Indiana has been like, that's our guy! We're like, thank you! Somebody said it!
To be fair, I think he's been Indianapolis's guy.
He has.
I mean, for a long time, but like I think it got cemented at the draft. Like the draft was the moment where you realized that like, oh, he's gonna be one of those figures in the media.
Yep.
Got it. Like he's not gonna back. Like when he gets these big moments, he's not gonna back down. He's just gonna embrace it, and that's great. So it's like, I'm surprised there's nobody from Minnesota. Minnesota has a very heavy sports culture, so it's like there's got to be somebody.
It's
like
strange.
It's Minnesota's like, I hate to say it, but it's too Canadian in a way because like there's a lot of similarities between the people of Minneapolis and the people of Canada that it's just like kind of overly nice. And you almost feel bad for Minnesota fans that they don't ever really get much. And it's like,
that's true.
Fine. In Oklahoma City, it's like, I'm sorry, you're a wannabe Indianapolis. Like that's the reality. Like you want to be the best of like the small market teams, but you can't because Indiana's got you beat. Like,
and it's like tough for Oklahoma. You can't hate on Oklahoma because every playoffs they're going through like cataclysmic level tornadoes. So you're sitting here like, you guys suck, and then you read all the news like 8 people died, and you're like, oh, well, my bad. Yeah. I hope you guys do all right. I'm just going to leave that alone. And you just stop talking to them. You're like, I'm sorry. I hope it all works out. I don't want to say nothing that makes me like a bad person.
Yep.
And you just let Oklahoma people be. And they also like, they get their hearts broken so much. Yep. It's so bad.
The worst part though, like, to Lunar's comment, he's like, it's 3 small market teams versus New York. You would think in that situation that everybody's going to be against New York. But I have seen so many people coming out of the woodworks being like, it's kind of nice to have New York be good again. And it would be kind of cool to see them win it. And I'm like, it's nice to have that because it won't last. If the Knicks do win it, within 2 days of winning it all, we'll be labeled as one of the most obnoxious fan bases in the world. Immediately. Because people hated the Yankees when they were good. People will hate the Knicks if they're consistently good. Nobody's going to hate the Pacers if you guys are good. I mean, it's, you don't have the legacy of like, the thing with small market teams, not even small market teams, but like you have to have like a culture of winning like the Chiefs or like sustained dominance for people to hate a small town team.
I'm gonna be real. People hate us, bro. Look in the chat. we are not loved, bro.
I mean,
But Lunar
you
says that. SLJ comes in and says that
you got a
all
few
the
people
time.
that are haters. I don't think it's that way. I mean, I'm looking at the media side of things. I
All
don't see
Cleveland
anybody.
hates us.
It's Cleveland. They're close. They're like the closest small market city to you.
Well, yeah, the media doesn't hate us, but the media also just doesn't care about
Care.
us
Yeah.
until they have to. Like they literally have to talk about. And Pat has ruined it for them.
Yeah.
They used to be able to not talk about us and not hate us. And then Pat started being like, "No, y'all don't join their side now. It's a little late. How about you stick with the other side?" And now they all are starting to get a little mad. But you are right, like we
So
ain't gonna get
okay.
talked like that.
So I have a question for you then, to turn
Hmm.
this into league stuff, because I know people. We can talk about whatever we want, but there's a lot of stuff in the league community that I kind of want to get into today.
Hmm.
If you had to compare the remaining 4 teams, or the remaining 4 cities in the NBA playoffs to league teams, like who do you think most accurately represents them in terms of the fit, like the people and the culture of the fandom? How would you
Oh
assign
man.
it?
Uh, the Knicks are like probably C9,
I feel like
like
C9's a
most
little too
popular.
clean.
What, too clean?
Yeah, I feel like C9's too clean of a fan base. Like they don't. What outlandish shit does C9 do?
All right, I mean honestly, the Knicks are TSM of old.
Yeah, but
Like
I
that's-
agree. But like,
but without the winning, I guess. Like that would be it. I don't know what you put them as. What? They're not FlyQuest. FlyQuest is like too green initiative and stuff.
would you say FlyQuest is the Indiana, the Pacers?
It's tough. I don't even know if league teams can relate to these teams. I'm trying to like drop who's who, but like our league players, honestly, I don't mean this in a bad way. It's just they don't. I don't think the orgs have the ability to do what the orgs do. I think the players could. Like if I took it from a player perspective, I would say FlyQuest is the Knicks.
Yeah,
Because FlyQuest is talking like actually FlyQuest might be Indiana because the Pacer players talk a lot of trash. I'll admit that we get in a lot of hot water for trash talking, and we do it on the court a lot too. So we're known for being instigators 24/7. So
would that make Team
like
Liquid
we
New
would
York then?
be
Because
yeah I think
It's not
TL would
like
be New York.
APA like is quiet either. Like,
Yeah, but I mean like APA is the only one who talks.
true.
And NY isn't like not all the players are talking for New York.
True.
Like it's more like a couple players talk and the rest are kind of just doing their thing playing ball. And the rest of the players talk and then also what I think fits the Knicks to TL is that like they're turning it on at the right time, you know, and they also like are kind of what would it be? They go through a lot of drama
Yeah.
as a squad. And TL goes through a lot of drama as a squad.
Yeah.
And so it feels like that. I think the Pacers meet what FlyQuest's energy is. And then like OKC would be in that maybe they're the C9 because they're like the guys who are I don't even want to say C9 though. I think they'd be more 100 Thieves. They want to prove that they're better than what people think they are. They're young, they're spry, they're doing that. And then yeah, Minnesota fits C9 better.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota has some older vets who need to make it work, and this is kind of their last shot, like C9 has. But they also have the like Ant who has a long life ahead of him of being great, and what is it? I would say like Loki has that energy, and Thanatos
Yeah.
probably have a lot of room to
I
be
also
great.
think the fans of C9 match well with Minnesota. That makes sense.
Yeah. I think like the reason Fly fans fit well with Indy too, actually, thinking about it, because we like constantly go, please just talk about us. And that's what Fly fans are doing all the time. They're like, I beg you, just talk about us.
Well,
I know 100 Thieves fans do that too, but
yeah, we
that
definitely.
OKC fans are doing that a
okay.
ton.
100 Thieves fans it's a weird one because it's like we want people to talk about us, but at the same time, there are certain people that do talk about us that we're just like, will you shut the fuck up already? Like,
True.
we don't want to hear from you. Of all people, we don't want to hear from you.
You just want to be talked about happily,
Yeah,
for being real. You want somebody to love you.
we do. We're looking for love. And we're not finding
You
it.
guys need, honestly, like, you are the Pat, I guess, of 100 Thieves.
That's the part that like that's the only part that I was thinking about was like if I'm what Pat is to there, if anything, I would like to compare myself to Stephen A. Smith and the Knicks. But
Yeah.
I it definitely feels more Pat purely based on like there's enough media attention and coverage that Stephen A doesn't have to, but he does it anyways. Whereas
Mhm.
I don't feel like there's enough attention on our side that it's like trying to pull the weight of it to a certain extent.
Yeah, and Pat seems a little more well prepared, and maybe I'm biased because I'm on the Pat side, but I think Stephen A is a little less ball knower, a little more like
Reactionary.
feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pat is very reactionary, don't get me wrong, but his crew like brings him up to speed quick. His boys do work. That's why he has that big old team.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes it work a little better, but
Do we want
David
to
hasn't got sued enough to be bad. That's a good one.
according to people
That's
on
a good
Twitter,
point.
you can apparently sue for just libel damages
Anything.
according to
Really.
the TL situation.
You can
Of which
sue
I
for
had
anything.
you can and you can. I had to explain earlier today with the Team Liquid situation is like they're like, oh, you could sue the player for ruining the TL contract. I was like,
Yeah.
what fucking money are you gonna get out of the player? You're
None.
gonna sue for civil. You have
Yeah.
no criminal case at all to put him in fucking jail. So like, what are you suing for? Like, Jesus Christ.
Let's see something real quick too.
What?
The median monthly salary in Brazil is $1,234 USD. All right, bro.
Yep.
You go get him. You go get him and get that 12K a year that he'll be trying to pay off for the rest of his life. Yeah.
That's wild.
When they said that, they were like, "You can sue for pretty much anything you want, right? And then go get your money from them." And I'm like, "Bro, the money doesn't just spawn. Like, you don't go to court and then the government
seize all
goes,
his assets. Imagine
Yeah.
imagine how that looks for Team
Yeah.
Liquid. Okay, in the media spotlight, whenever they're like, okay, we are suing this kid for the shirt on his fucking back. We're gonna make
Yeah.
sure he lives on the streets of Brazil and never gets to do a thing in his life ever
Yep.
again because he cost us a sponsorship. It's like you be the villains. Like I don't care. Like this
yeah.
guy. Like it does not matter how fucked up what he said was. If you put him on the streets without clothes, food, and anything else, people are gonna turn
Mhm.
against you.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's just true. Like, because what he said, obviously, because we're talking about now, I can get the obvious out of the way. We both agree, terrible thing, should not have been posted, said, whatever.
Yep.
The context of it makes it terrible. But then you get into like the actual nitty gritty of everything, and you're like, okay, so Honda removes their sponsorship, totally justified if they want to. That's their decision. But once they remove the sponsorship, in my head, and this is just my head, is you've kind of taken away TL's reasoning to fire the guy in the sense of other than if they just want to.
Yeah.
Because it's not to keep a relationship anymore. And we know TL is this player first org. They've always been that way. They always try to take care of their guys. Steve always pays things out to the full. If somebody does something wrong, Steve has been known to post like very lengthy, I mean, especially on the EWC stuff, he posted very long posts about it and talked about it and why he thinks it's important to go speak with other people, build relationships, and try to change their hearts. So knowing the way Steve thinks, this is that exact thing, just situation copied and pasted here.
Yep.
You know he's gonna, if he already knows he's lost the money and firing the kid won't get him the money, then in his head he's gonna go, all right, this is a perfect time for us to work on this kid and see if we can't change his ideas and culture, and then through changing his ideas and his beliefs, maybe we can reach out to our fans in Brazil. We can reach out to the whole team down there. Anybody else who would possibly see this and think that was a funny post can then see the heart change that this guy has gone through and go, hey, maybe I implement that and I think the same way. Like, I think before I speak.
Yep.
and hurt somebody. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't know how you accidentally post what he posted
No,
when you're talking about
that's the only
Japanese
part.
team.
That's the part that I'm sitting there like
Crazy
when I saw it
mistake.
was the co CEO.
Uh,
I think it was. It
yeah.
wasn't Steve. It was the other guy. That's just like he's going through this lengthy explanation of like how you get to this explosion gift. I was like, dude, you're doing too much. You're doing too fucking
Yep.
much. You like it should be common sense when you are dealing
Mhm.
with anything Japan that you
Mhm.
don't fucking do it. Like anything that's
Yep.
remotely close to that, you don't do. Period. End of story, end of conversation. Like that should be common sense. In this situation, it's not. And hopefully now it can turn into a learning experience for them. And hopefully Team Liquid should be able to find a partner. We keep saying kid, so look, everybody, when Paul and I are talking about people that are 7 to 10 years younger than us, we're going to refer to people as kids naturally. That's
Yeah.
a natural part of our vocabulary. We are not calling him a kid. We understand that he's an adult and its repercussions. But the other thing that I will keep reminding people is that, especially when we're dealing with different cultures here, you have different people coming from different ways of life where different versions of shit talk are considered more tolerable than others in certain areas. I mean, look at Brazil whenever they announced the LTA, dude. The amount of fucking 9/11 things that I had in my replies. Like every other video or like every other tweet that I would comment on like the merger and stuff like that, it was 9/11 stuff, ISIS terror stuff, like again, like just all of it. Even the fucking like people are like, "Oh, you know, what's too far?" Whenever the whole Shaden thing happened, I had literally people sending me ISIS beheading videos.
Psychos.
And
Stupid.
that's what people were like, "Oh, you would freak out." I was like, "No. Some people just got to learn." Like
Well, it is also it's awkward, but that is like the first gift that comes up when I typed explode because I was literally curious.
Yeah.
First thing I did when I read the guy said that I typed in gifts explosion, it was an atomic bomb.
It was the first one.
And I was like, yeah, that was the first thing I got.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know, that does I mean, if you're not thinking about it and you're kind of focused on work, which is what he was
Yeah.
focused on, like obviously terrible mental lapse to post on Twitter,
Yep.
but it's like I can see where the mistake comes in, and I know a 23-year-old should be perfect, but he just wasn't in that moment. And I mean, I'm sub 25. I would say I did make a lot of mistakes.
Oh, so did
That
I. Yeah.
none that big.
No,
I mean,
none never that big.
none that big.
No.
Yeah,
But
but
you understand
definitely
like you understand
mistakes.
the sentiment behind like the mistake.
Yeah, and if I was under a microscope, it probably would have been worse.
Oh. And to be
Which
fair,
I get, you gotta change how you are under.
and
the
that's the thing. It's
microscope.
like, look, he's
Jesus.
at the end of the day, he is a professional. Like
Yeah.
whether he likes it or not, whether you're 18 or 27 or 52, you're a professional signed to an organization that represents an organization. Now, where I don't
Yep.
agree, and I've talked about this, and I know Basil and I DM'd about it, and I don't think it really went anywhere productive, but it's like, I get that this is like obvious. I get that it's extremely bad. Like we've made that abundantly
Yeah.
clear a billion fucking times at this point. I cannot personally relate with the idea that when something terribly bad happens, you just cut it off entirely and don't try to make something good of a bad situation. Like that's the part that I cannot understand. So when people are like, I get this is in the Japanese media, I get this went mainstream, I get why Honda had to cut it, obviously. I get all
Yeah.
of that. That doesn't mean that I agree with that philosophy of it. But I think that's just a cultural
Yep.
difference where it's like, yes, if a Middle Eastern player let's use a hypothetical world for TL in this situation, or not even TL. I don't know. I'm trying. You say I don't know G2.
Well, the
G2.
easiest example would be Shane Gillis. You know, a rightful firing that could have happened, that also could have not been fired. But if he does get fired, like this TL guy, if he would have got fired, we all would have been like, yeah.
Yeah, it makes
I
sense.
mean,
Yeah, you cost him $1
it
billion.
makes sense. But if he doesn't get fired, and you hear them say, "We're gonna work with him on why this was wrong," you're also like, "I'll hear you out."
Yep.
That's my best example idea. Like, Yeah,
Yeah.
Carlos, I get.
No,
Well,
I don't think Carlos is
Carlos is
different.
a little more aggressive than this guy.
No,
I think there was a lot of malicious intent behind
yeah.
Carlos.
I think
Like
that
a lot.
that's the part that I think is lost with people in this conversation is like I get it's the internet, so people are naturally going to be distrusting, obviously. But from everything that we've heard from both Team Liquid, from people around, like it doesn't sound like there was malicious intent by this. Was it a
Yeah.
very dumb mistake? Yeah. Should it have cost him his
Yep.
job? Probably yeah. But the difference between having malicious intent with something and doing something that ends up being really bad, while from a financial perspective doesn't matter, from the comeback story, from the angle of how do you progress forward with this, it does affect how you react to this individual player in this situation. And in my opinion, how people should handle it outside of that. Like that's my big thing is like even though Honda had to drop him, if somebody did this with an American sponsor and accidentally tweeted out not accidentally, but like tweeted out, but not with malicious intent, something related to 9/11. I don't know how the fuck they would do that. Like, I don't know how you make it, but say there was an incident that did happen. It's like, you try and do something positive from it. Like, I'm not going to sit here. If somebody did that and say it was G2, G2 has a player that tweets out something beyond anti-American, and G2 has American sponsors that are looking at this being like, okay, what the fuck, bro? If I'm working for that company, if I'm that sponsor, I'm not cutting the relationship with G2 just because a player said something fucked up.
Mhm.
Like I'd either ask for the player to get cut or see what else is happening there, but I would try and stick with G2 regardless of the press. And in America, it's also different, and I get that because we have a culture of like, if somebody fucks up and does something bad, but we see the redemption arc behind it, we are very much for that here. Like that is very much a part of our culture of like second chances, giving people a chance to try and work their way back into people's good graces. Like so many people in our fucking society are like that at this point. That it's like it's just part of American culture that we just do that.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, and there's a lot of times too people do end up just losing something and don't get a second chance. And this is one of those ones that I file into that area of if you're lucky you'll get a second chance. If you're not, it's completely understandable why you didn't. And not everyone is going to look at it the way you just explained too. The execute one, just responding to Lunar about that one, I think that one's just like one of those totally justified. I mean, he told somebody to take their like
Yeah, that
end their
there's the
life.
malicious intent. Like that's the difference.
Yeah, that guy got suspended as he should for a game, and probably could have got more, so he's lucky. But it's like I don't know. I don't know. Like you don't. To me, you don't just cut them off because, like we both have been saying, you want to train them or at least teach them your perspective, and they're never gonna hear it if you just get rid of them instantly.
Bingo.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, if they wanted to get rid of him, that would have been
then it-
understandable. And if Honda wants to leave, that's totally within their right. I mean, that's more of a Eastern thing, I'd say. Like Eastern regions definitely move on a lot quicker, and like they are willing to cut something off they view as disrespect a lot faster. But American companies can be that way too under the right social pressure.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have a long leash, and sometimes American companies move with haste
Yep.
to
It-
get
it
rid of
really
things.
depends.
So, yeah, it's literally all about luck,
Yeah.
to be honest, of the situation you were in, if you get to survive or not.
Yep. I don't know. Is there anything else to say on that TL topic, or are we free to move on to other things? The only thing that I would just add to the end of this is there was a lot of I understand why like the conversations around like the fiscal side of things felt like it was downplaying the cultural importance of it. Like I see in hindsight, like talking about all this, I can see why it's taken that way. I think
Yeah.
I think the two conversations could be had in tandem without affecting each other personally, but I can see why it's taken that way. Like it's one of those where it's like me personally in the situation, like we kind of did it with how we talked about this from the beginning is like you establish from the jump that it's fucked up no matter what.
Hmm.
and then you talk about the other side of it.
Yeah,
And then
and it's
that should just
yeah,
like it's assumed, but like if you don't say it over and over again, I get people tuning in halfway and it's like, it's only about this. It's like, no, we know this, but
yeah. And not everybody moves the way I guess we would move in that way of
yeah,
just saying at the beginning, "Oh, that's bad," and then going, "This is going to be really ugly, losing another sponsor," which I can understand. Yeah, some people don't care about the finances of the league and that side, and I'm not saying that in like a "oh, you don't see what's coming" way. More just like they aren't as worried, and that's fine. That's their decision. But we are very, very worried about finances of the league, so it's what we end up getting to a lot. It's
yeah.
where we look. I mean, and you've always been a big finance guy. That's why we were talking about, we were like, maybe this is just something you bow out and go like, hey,
Shout out to
now's not the
Catman
time,
for
obviously.
being
Yeah.
the first one to be like, is this worth dying on this hill? It's
Yes.
like, yeah,
Being like,
probably right.
hey, bro, just let them have it. They obviously don't want to hear you talk about this right now. So I would just dip and call it what it is. I mean, it definitely
It's funny,
sucks.
the dude that I quote, so Trace Parker or Parkas, he used to work with Golden State or the Golden State Word, not Golden State Warriors, the Golden Guardians. He was with Team Liquid. He was the one that helped sign the Team Liquid Honda deal when he was at Team Liquid. Somebody was putting in the replies of like, what's your basis for like saying that this is part of it? And I linked his tweet because his tweet said, sucks to see something along the lines of like, sucks to see a deal that I signed 6 years ago go up in flames like this. I think it was going to go under anyways, given the current state of everything, and this was a unique opportunity for Honda to say like, we're out and get two birds, one stone type thing. And I
Mhm.
put that in the quote retweets, and then he deleted it and was like, this clearly not the right time for this conversation, but we'll circle back. And I'm like, kind of it. You can kind of talk about him in tandem, but I get it. He was getting heated
Yeah,
for it, so fine.
fair enough.
But
I
like,
mean, in talking in SLJ's, he said a good example is Quick Shot in LEC after he says do the
yeah,
whatever
in
and gets
Germany,
cut.
yeah, yeah,
That is one of those two with Quick Shot. He had a pretty storied history of doing some sus stuff behind scenes. I mean, there were a lot of rumors about him. So when he said that, I think that was one of those like he's already kind of been ebbing and flowing through should we remove him? And that was one of those final straws. For this guy, I clearly not enough for me to know. Has he consistently been like this on TL? Has he
that I
not?
don't know. That I didn't see anything
And
about that.
and that's where I would be like, hey, let's see where it goes. But it is one of those um yeah, you gotta kinda just sit there and be like, TL chose what they wanted to do. Honda chose what they wanted to do. I really don't think either side did it wrong. I think they both did what was well within their right to do. And TL is taking a very unique approach in today's mindset to deal with this problem. It's definitely not one people, I think the majority agree with. I
No,
mean, obviously, by what I've read and seen people say, but it's one that I think is not the most negative thing you could do if you want to truly like have change on culture.
yeah. I will say this now that I think we've talked about like the full like Japan side of this. Looking at the fiscal side, separate from that, entirely moving
Mhm.
forward, I'm really interested to see what Team Liquid does because that's a big contract. That's a big contract. Even if they, people said that I think it was potentially up for renegotiation here soon, and that they might have wanted to stay on. I'm willing to bet that even if that was the case, they probably would have negotiated a lower deal because the views on
Mhm.
Team Liquid content, on Team Liquid esports, on all esports across the industry have dropped so significantly that anytime a sponsorship renewal is coming up right now, it's going to be for a lower dollar value. And that was something like they talked about it on Hotline League last night a little bit. On like a viewer called in and was like, "I'm worried about the precedent this sets." And Travis and ours were like, "Well, we lost Verizon for the LCS, and they picked up AT&T. You lost some automobile sponsors, and then Kia comes in and does that. So it's like we've been picking up people, and my response to that would be, just because you're replacing somebody doesn't mean you're replacing with the same value. And we're in a delicate spot in esports right now where, yes, we might still have sponsors come in, but we need to make it very clear that the sponsors that come in likely will not have the same money, the same pool, the same ties, the same resources that we once have, which technically, you can argue good or bad is very relative. As long as we're balancing a budget, then all is fair. But like, there's no way whoever TL gets as a replacement sponsor is going to put equal money up to what they were getting in their last deal with Honda. There's no question at all.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's one of those, I think if you're TL, they keep saying they're profitable. So I don't really know how they're doing it.
Well, their salaries are probably dropping. Their salaries
True.
have to be dropping alongside the
True.
revenue drops. Maybe not as much. Maybe the revenue drop is, well, okay. This year is going to be an interesting year on their P&L when you look at it and you see like this massive blip of like, hey, what happened to your revenue? Well, we had to write off a bunch of it. Yeah.
Somebody spoke a little too much.
Yeah. So,
and we're in
kind
a
of
pickle
fucked there. But like, we are a long way away from the time where like TL's balance sheet included, or TL's P&L had $1 million of yearly expense for Impact and 2.3 million or whatever the fuck it was for Bjergsen. Like, we are a long time removed from that period. APA just signed his re-up, but I can't imagine it's for like that much. Like, UG is going to be on minimum contract. Granted, they have 2 junglers now, so that's a little bit different. Core JJ is probably the highest paid player on that team, barring Impact himself. Yawn, I can't imagine, is on like that big of a salary jump. And even when Impact and Core JJ retire, you're going to see pretty massive salary reductions after that too. So it's like it's not entirely lost in terms, or it's not entirely doomed in terms of their P&L, but it should be better, you would think.
They're also hitting that. I ain't gonna lie. The winter to spring views drop has been crazy.
Oh, it's been bad.
Especially, like, I don't want to throw you into the limelight, but I watch pretty much all your videos. I've been noticing you've been fighting through it. And I know if you're fighting through it because you have a pretty stable base. Most of the time. I've noticed your base stays. If you're fighting through it, I know those guys are fighting way harder. Yeah. Because you had a little dip, I would say, and then what video was it? I think it was the LEC budget one. Yep. Like, really brought you back.
Off again.
And I was like, okay, that should even everything out again. And you've been getting back into good territory for playoffs. And I've been sitting there like, man, if you're fighting, there's no way the teams aren't fighting for their lives. Because honestly, I don't know if they do as well as you with the resources they have.
No, and I think that's a big part of the content conversation, which, full disclosure, the reason why I pulled some of those numbers on social media stuff is because me, Marn, and Cloud are going to have either an LTA report or some sort of content piece on their channels just talking about the state of content. And we'll go in depth between the three of us there, but obviously we still have space to talk about it here. Khan got a lot of shit on Twitter for saying that people's content isn't good enough. And I disagree. The one area where I really disagree with Khan is I think you have to start somewhere in terms of number viewership growth. Like, when I look at my content, objectively speaking, my content is terrible. But the difference is the amount of money that I'm putting into it is minimal. I have my monthly expenses. If you include my phone, which is like under like my normal phone payment plan, whatever. My camera's Elgato, like all my equipment is Elgato, and I get that now as part of a sponsorship deal there. So like all of my equipment is owned, operated, everything else. My cost for making a video is nothing right now. Everything is owned. I like nothing, like it's there's no labor required. I don't owe myself any money or salary because I'm making content. There's no floor. at all. It's just whatever I want to do with it. Therefore, even though I get low viewership, especially on YouTube and Twitch, it's objectively a net positive, and it's growing. And I think growing content is good. And that includes Cloud9, TL, and these organizations. You want to see their numbers grow. Where the problem does come in, that I do agree with him, is the insane quality standards as well as the production costs that likely go into these videos to get the views that they get.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, they also own the studios. Like TL has One Up Studios. Cloud9 probably pays a social person, but like I'd be curious to know what kind of return they're getting on all their social media content. Like that's the tough part. Is like when you try and isolate this to just content, like content spend, the cost of producing it, the cost of putting it out, the revenue that's made from content alone. I can't imagine it's a net positive. And part of that you can write off as marketing, sure, but like in a world where you need money, like
yeah. And honestly, it's one of those situations where I'm sitting here thinking too. I went back to check the Shopify numbers because I was trying to remember. So when Ludwig did his, that was by far the biggest boost they had of viewership on the SR like YouTube gaming channel, you know?
Yeah.
It was like 7.8K. That's where it's at right now. Their latest League video is LoL Pros test their classic League of Legends knowledge 3 weeks ago. 650. Like total. And I'm just sitting here thinking, me and Con have been talking all split really about the lack of Charlie and Lud doing content for the team. But I'm looking at that 650 versus that 7.8, and I'm in my head going, okay, if you see your thing is dying essentially, right? Like it is. I mean, this channel is not doing well, and you know the easiest way to boost this viewership, honestly, what is that? A 10x from video to video is to just add those two to it. Why are you not able to do that more? I know they're busy people.
They're both busy.
But yeah, that's like crushing me. Like this, I mean, it's kind of just cut, I think, or it's cooked. My bad. Well, it is cut. If we're being honest, it needs to be cut because this side of the house can't be profitable. You can't be paying a man a full salary to be making this stuff.
Video. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there ain't no way. You're not getting anything back. And it's not like this is like the NBA, you know, or the NFL where they put out videos like this that maybe get 10K views, but then that stuff gets clipped by a bunch of people to Twitter and gets millions and millions of views, or TikTok and gets millions. Like, this stuff ain't getting clipped to TikTok and YouTube and getting millions of views.
No.
Like, it's just not. There's not enough fans who are interested in doing that.
No.
For being honest. Because the NBA and NFL justify it that way. They go, hey, we're going to put out this content. It's not going to get a ton of views. But somebody in our sphere, because they have decades old media, like established, is going to cut this clip really quick and write an article. And that's going to give us the cred we actually want from the video.
Yes. There's
and we're not getting
effects afterwards.
Yes.
To it.
Yeah, we're not getting any of that in League.
No.
The logic doesn't really work there.
No. I'm scared to add the other 4 organizations to the social media numbers that I'm pulling. I know it's just going to bring it down. It felt good for me though on the TikTok front. I will say that felt good. That felt really good.
When I was looking at it, I was just chuckling because I was like, he's so happy about his TikTok numbers. And I bet you're happy about your team is the only one who's embraced TikTok in a good way.
They haven't, though. It's just one.
Well, 7 videos, I guess.
That's 7 videos over the course of 5 months. They have not in any way, shape, or form.
That's bad.
And they had one video that popped for like 5.4 million. That's the reason why it's up so high.
Oh, so that's why their median is so high?
Their median's high because, well, okay.
Yeah, they don't post any.
To their credit, they don't post because they don't post enough videos. Their median is higher because the few times that they do post, it gets a lot of clicks.
Yeah, I see.
And the thing that I will give 100 Thieves credit for, that they should get so much more credit than what anybody else is giving to them. So that YouTube average for 100 Thieves is brought up entirely by the 3 videos that I included in there that were on their main channel, not their side channel. Because here's the thing that people need to realize. This is like a secret to YouTube and TikTok and everything else. Your follower count doesn't matter at all. It makes no difference. What matters is your
Sure.
monthly active users, your monthly active, like the engagement itself. That's why when you look at Spotify, what number do we talk about when it comes to artists? Monthly active
listeners.
listeners. Subscribers don't matter if subscribers aren't watching or listening to your shit. So
True.
when it comes to like subscriber count, I don't care how follower count gives you a plaque. True. And follower count also is like a benchmark for monetization. So there is like things that are tied to it, but like it's not, when we're talking about like relevancy, it's not the benchmark that we should use. So 100 Thieves has 3 videos on their main channel that
Mhm.
incorporate the League team, the Valorant team, and the Call of Duty team. And they drag up the numbers of 100 Thieves YouTube content so high. And I'm willing to include any other org that has collaborative content between their teams. But I didn't see any, so I couldn't include it. So 100 Thieves is like kind of leading the pack there in terms of that's the shit that you gotta do. You gotta cross-pollinate your content. Like that should be the biggest takeaway from the YouTube stuff alone, is like you cannot just have their like the League teams doing their own shit. Because the reality is nobody's watching the League teams on their own. But people do want to see the Call of Duty team engage with the League team.
Yeah.
You have to have it. And that's where like the biggest failure of everything's going on. But I will give C9 credit. The one thing I noticed, their podcast is actually growing decently well. Like
Really?
they are getting consistently increasing numbers for that, and that's a very low cost content type, assuming the studio's already like there and ready for them. That I really hope they keep up. I hope that's a consistent thing for them going forward. And podcasts are one of the best CPM monetized types of content that are out there. So
they
like
are.
that's really like the podcast on their side, really fucking good. That deserves to be commended. And they're so consistent with it.
They are. I'll give them their podcast is a great idea. And it's not like one of those podcasts that's overtly long.
No.
I think it's in a good wheelhouse range.
And you got good personalities. An Arrow is great for a podcast.
Yep. 30 to 45 minutes. Just that's fine. That's a plenty to hear a player talk.
Yep.
Plenty.
Unless they're
It's
able to
just-
talk about like real life and things outside of that. But like League players don't open up like that.
Yeah, that's true. Cloud9 also hits the content hard, but they're also like, if I'm being honest to myself, I still don't think they're in that range of monetization where it justifies what they're doing.
No. Not yet.
Like, and I know you got to get there again, but it's just so weird. How did we all get to this point of small channels?
So that's the thing that throws all this off, where I think a lot of people are like, oh, 8,000 views is good. It's like 8,000 views is terrible when considering like 10 years ago we were pushing 40, 50K for every video that an org put out. It's fucking god awful. Like it's terrible. And it's like,
no, it's true.
I don't have an answer. I don't, other than just like people just don't get it really, I guess. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to put a solid answer on it. But like one of the things I've been doing independently on my own has been like I've been trying to figure out, like I think I've got like the League side of content down in terms of like how I engage with like League news and talking about it, like the Pat McAfee style thing there. I'm trying to figure out how to do that for real life content. Like New York City local shit. So I created a second TikTok account that is just talking about my New York City like stuff, personal stories, life, etc., and like trying to see like what that pathway to like a traditional quote unquote influencer is outside of the gaming space. And there's definitely more challenges to be had than just like talking about the headlines of the gaming space. Definitely more difficult. But you can find a way to do it. If I'm trying to figure it out while balancing all this, everybody else can figure out their shit.
Yeah. That's true. I think it all also just makes me sad because I remember like what the old TSM CLG
Oh, yeah.
numbers were, and it's just like I I just want to know why we'll never get back to there. It makes me just sad to accept. It's hard to accept. But it is unrealistic, and I know TSM has been dead forever and is just gone completely. But it's just like, how did we lose that so hard in NA? Like, and not transition any of that? I don't know.
Okay. Let's have the conversation that you and I had privately, publicly, then, because I think it's tied to it.
Hmm. Which one?
That we're dealing with a different generation of people in esports that don't get it.
Ah, that's fair. Yeah,
Because
that one.
I think part of
Saucy.
part of what comes with content is like people want to see the journey. Like early content was so much fun to watch because you're watching these guys go from like your everyday Joe Schmo to everyday Joe Schmo with a fucking $1 million. Like that's an insane
Yeah.
premise. On top of that, you have org owners, you have everybody else that's involved in esports that like it becomes this melting pot of like you have former lawyers, former like business professionals that are quitting their jobs because like money is starting to like do well in esports, go into esports, mixing with these guys that are like just high school kids trying to like pursue a dream and they're stupidly talented in this one thing that is uniquely cool to a group of people, and it blended well. We're now 10 to 15 years removed from that point. The current generation of people that are in esports grew up just wanting to be in esports. And they don't bring, in my opinion, that melting pot of experience, that melting pot of just cultural blending in a way. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, but like they don't bring the external experiences because it's like I wanted to be in esports. I've always wanted to do esports, and this is the thing that like I want more than anything. And because of that, it's so sterile. It's like you have no person. If your entire personality is esports, what do you bring to the fucking table? If you're not the best in the world, like Faker, and your entire identity is esports, what do you bring? And that not only goes for the players, that goes for the people that work in the industry and beyond. It's like, what do you bring to the table that makes it interesting or is working? Because clearly the people that are currently in charge and running shit, at least on the league front, on team side, players, etc., some people might be able to win titles. They might be able to set their orgs up to win.
Yeah.
But you're not doing much else.
I think Guy in chat makes a good point that we do talk about the terminal illness that League is in a lot. So I'm going to try to keep this fast, but this is a good talking point still because we haven't talked about this part. I think ever really before
No,
of like
we've
the
never
new
talked about it publicly,
generation.
no.
But it is one of those weird things that I think we're just very confused because there was a time where things were going very well and some of these people have been around for a while, so it's very weird to watch them kind of chuck it and like lose the people that were there and just not know why. And you kind of have to talk about like what is happening and why are the new people just not being able to get newer people in. And I think a lot of it does have to do with the older generation was a little better at building their own fan base on their own.
Part of that also probably comes from the fact that they didn't like it wasn't their main
There were
thing.
more people. Yeah.
Well, that obviously
true.
like having more
That's
people
true.
there, fine. But like speaking from experience on this, I can't imagine how much different my shit would look like if I had to rely entirely on content being my revenue. Oh,
True.
dude, I'd be so stressed all the fucking time. And I'm like already stressed as is in certain portions of it because it's like whenever golf cut off, like content revenue became like my plug for whenever I wasn't teaching golf to keep our monthly expenses where they were to make sure we're hitting like loan payments and everything else. So it was like, oh man, dude, that was tough. I couldn't imagine otherwise. It does have an effect on you because then you start thinking about the numbers. And the second you start thinking about the numbers and the money behind it, your content changes entirely. it alters. It shifts immediately. So you got to be doing it for the passion, and then the numbers come along with it. You have to keep the numbers in mind, but it can't be the main thing, ever.
Yeah. And Lunar has a good point that the old generation never really invested in that next generation. That is kind of true. Like there were a
True.
lot of people who didn't get chances. Because it makes me think of the 5 fires, the value 247s, guys like that who we
Copy.
were like, why are they still sitting down there? Yeah, it's just like, why are all these guys still sitting down there? It doesn't make any sense, and they just never got a shot. But it's also one of those like, I think one of the big points you made is the guys now get paid so much money, they don't really have to actually like stressfully stream or make videos, that they're not building their own content brand that good to the point that it's like, oh, they're really making a difference.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like, now NA is in this weird spot where nobody's really making content outside that relates to people well. The team content isn't really getting people to watch that much, and the individual players don't make content that gets you to watch too much. And on top of it all, we don't win a lot.
Yeah.
Internationally, we just don't. So there's not really anything to really grab onto, and we don't celebrate domestic wins quite as good as I would have hoped for.
It was
So it
interesting.
puts you in a weird spot where it's like, what do you celebrate?
So it's interesting to see you respond to Guy in chat's comment who said, surely we have something else to talk about other than stage of terminal illness for League for the umpteenth time. Interesting.
That was the one I responded to, yeah.
Yeah. I can't say that I agree.
That we shouldn't? I know. I only responded, though, because it is true we talk about it a lot.
No, I'm saying
But
that we
it
should
is-
talk about it.
Well, no, I'm saying...
Oh.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying,
Oh,
like,
okay.
yes, we talk about it a lot, and yes, it's probably annoying to listen to, but also it's one of those things you can't ignore, really. Like, we can talk about C9 looking bad this week, not playing well, which I already
well.
told you all was going to happen, and I knew was going to happen. And I told you where their ceiling is and where their floor is, and how they're just, at best, a top second place team, so they might make Worlds, but they'll never make MSI. And at worst, they're going to be fourth.
Yeah.
But if I talk about that, and I never once mention the fact that we lost, TL loses Honda, viewership is on a kind of almost alarmingly large drop from winter to spring, and usually we get a spring to summer drop, but with 3 splits we're seeing the drop happen quicker than it used to, and that worries me. Like, you have to mention it.
Yeah. Because, like,
you have to somewhat talk about it.
It's one of those things of, like, you don't get out of a problem by ignoring it. Like, that's the biggest thing that I think people just need to understand is, like, I get the conversations around fixing this suck to have so consistently. It's like turning on the TV in the middle of the Great Recession and all you saw was just like doomerism shit. And by all means, there's a bit of it that like is actually just straight up doomerism and like fear mongering and propaganda. But you also have to continuously have fucking conversations on how to fix it. Always. Like, you have to. If you don't have those conversations, one, it falls out of relevancy. Two, you don't solve the problem. And three, you kind of have to. Like, it's just the situation. If you don't like it and want to watch the games, like, fine. But like, the reality is, like, it's not like we don't talk about the positive stuff either. It's just like you can't ignore the context that does diminish some of the positive things, while still trying to also not be doomer about it.
And you just kind of have to be. I mean, it sucks, but you legitimately do have to be.
Yeah. And
like,
TL losing their big sponsors, like, come on, like, of course we're gonna fucking talk about everything.
That's a huge deal. Yeah, that's
like,
just a huge deal.
Come on, that's a big headline.
I mean, it's one of those things where we have to sit here and be like, this could really put us in an awkward spot. Like a legitimately awkward spot.
Glad you asked, Guy in chat, because that's a great way to segue the problem identification portion of this to the solution driven part of this. And you know what I want to say? Did you see the fucking interview with the LEC commissioner?
No.
That's on
What?
Reddit.
Where?
Yes, it's on Reddit right now. So they interviewed the LEC commissioner at the K Corp roadshow and asked him, hey, what the road shows? Who's paying for them? And he basically was like, the teams. The teams are paying for it. They wanted something like this, like they're gonna make it work. And it's basically Riot just saying like, oh, we're gonna let them do their thing. We're just gonna keep doing what we're doing here. If teams want to throw events and do their shit, fine. And they're open to the idea of more road shows. So once again, our solution on that going forward is pretty great over in Europe. The way you fucking solve this is going back to the basics, which Europe is starting to do. And it's why Europe is like such a beacon of positivity, other than the fact that their finals are in the fucking studio, because Riot controls that. That's mind-boggling dumb. But that's how you do it. And for North America, for us, we got to get on the road. Like, you got to get this game in front of people. You got to take it to DreamHack. You got to take it to all the different conventions to just like start getting it talked about within the mainstream spheres. Like, we are no longer big enough to say like, hey, we're going to have an LCS event and press wants to come to our event. And we're at the point where we are asking press like, hey, please come watch our shit. Please come do this and write an article if you want to, versus like Worlds comes to New York, there's a shit ton of outlets that want to cover it immediately because it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, that's cool. Let's talk about it. It's like, you got to be in the places where people are having broader conversations than just League. So my solution to this is to get League out of fucking LA. Get it out now. What?
Dude, some of these comments, one guy said, very disappointing the LEC Riot is not helping fund this for other teams and only letting the teams that can obviously make it work with money do this in MKOI and KCore. I'm kind of sitting here thinking though the opposite, like, hey buddy, guess what? If you want your own roadshow, if you want to make it work, step up to the plate, pal.
Yeah, that was my takeaway too. I
Figure
was
it out.
surprised by those comments.
How about you step up? They were like, G2 and Fnatic, it's going to be hard for them. And I was like, oh, boo-hoo. The two oldest teams in the league can't figure it out with the biggest fan bases. Don't know how to make finances happen. That's so sad. Freaking who? How about you put it together?
Or
Goodness.
the Heretics fans, the Heretics, the Rogue, well, now Navi, because Navi's going to be replacing Rogue. The fans of those teams are like, we didn't get invited to a roadshow. And in the article, Riot's like, yeah, we let the teams that put on the roadshow within reason pick the teams that they wanted to be there because they're paying for everything. So like, they should be allowed to decide who they want to come. To which I'm saying, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Time for these bottom teams to man the fuck up. Guess what? You ain't shit. So get used to it. You either better grow your fucking fan base or give some sort of reason to make it so that these teams want you in their building, in their event. Because guess what? They both apparently turned a profit. So they're making money. And you benefit from being at these events and getting your name out there. So eventually you can have one of your own. So yeah.
No, that's
man the fuck
for
up.
real. You're going to have to, if you want to be there, you either you better start taking them out to steak dinners. And I mean, making it good and giving them the night of their life. And then slipping in hey, next roadshow, remember us, pal.
Yep.
We're here. Or B, you better get a crowd that they think is worth having.
Yep.
And really sell it a place out. I mean, bro, if you can convince them, hey, our crowd will sell out game 1. Get our people out of there, and for your series, put your people back in, and that's a good deal for you. If you can convince them of that, then by all means, do it, and you'll get your spot. If you can't convince them of that, though, and they think it's going to be tough to sell tickets, they ain't going to call you up.
And dude, I love it.
Ain't their problem.
I love it. I love the competitive side of things within the orgs. That like Riot is pseudo, like sitting here like, damn, we should have fucking had them in here earlier, and this would have taken. Because that for Riot. Think about how happy they are with this now. They don't have to do much. Now, they should be doing more than they are in terms of, like, finals. But even then, like there are certain areas where I'll criticize Riot, but this is one where I got to give them credit, where they were just like, you know what? Let the dogs fight it out. And you know what? The best are going to rise to the fucking top. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what's fucking happening. And I'm just sitting here like, great. Keep that shit up. Bring it over to North America. Like, what I would, the baller
Yeah.
move, okay, this won't happen, but it's a baller move. Riot says, hey, we're going online. We're playing purely online next year. Okay,
Unless you can host.
it doesn't make sense that we have $50,000 going in this a day. Valorant makes us more money for now. The reality is, we're just going to use them, and whenever because they can afford to do this, fine. You guys will be fine online and get the same amount of viewership, and it makes no fucking difference. So
Yep.
you're going to go online, but we're not just going to throw that budget away. If anybody wants to host an event or like try and do something somewhere, or if we want to go to DreamHack, that's fine. Let's talk about going to one of these events, and you guys got to lead the charge.
Yeah. No, I mean, sell tickets for a little more if you got to make these things work. I think people will buy them. I think they're a little facetious on just getting people in the door and how important it is to them that they need to sell cheap tickets. I think you can sell them to make a profit and it be fine.
If you give them an experience that's worth that price, yeah.
Yeah. And so there are a couple points I want to touch on. Was one, Grezzy made a good point. He said we did kind of forget when we were talking about League falling to the wayside, is Twitch does have a ton of competition now. I mean, one with just chatting in every other game in the world, but that's also, you got to keep your own spot, like just because there's competition.
Yep.
Like, you do have to keep that. But then also, it made me chuckle really hard when Lunar said, places where people are having conversations about League, throws MSI in Vancouver who talks about Vancouver. That's very funny. But also, yeah, that's like, I think though, on ticket raising, it actually is like one of those things. If you need to make your event like make money, and you're talking about NA and you want to go places, most of your base at this point can't afford to pay that little bit higher. We can afford $50 tickets. It doesn't have to be $20 anymore.
No. You just have,
Like,
again,
I know that's
you have to get an
frustrating.
experience. And if
Yeah,
people are
and
going to
it
sit here
needs-
and fucking tell you that, hey, we're not willing to spend $50 and we're not willing to go to these events, period, then guess what? You don't have a
Cooked.
fucking like you're done. It's as simple as that. Like,
Yeah.
and it is what it is, and you accept it and you
Chalk
move
it
the
up,
fuck
man.
on, and you just let it be an online thing. And if people want to enjoy an online thing, fine, cool.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to have to be.
Because, I mean, what, a 50-seat arena? What does that come out to?
50-seat arena?
Obviously, taxes, or 3,000-seat arena, my bad.
Oh,
$50 a ticket, that's $150. But there's going to be a ton of other things, right? Like fees, taxes, all that, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
But if you're charging $50 for 2 days, like $100 for a weekend to go experience League in a 3,000-seat arena, you're making, well, that's somewhere in the ballpark of 300 that you have. Honestly, your goal is going to be to break even, not make money, if we're being real, because that's the stage we're at. You're trying to give them experience. So your budget is then whatever in that 300K ends up working out to being profitability. You need to be blowing all of that into making this decent.
yep.
And yes, if you need to cut back on cameras, you cut back on cameras, bruh. You don't got to keep putting crazy cameras out there. I'm sure there's a local lighting crew that can do a good enough job, and you don't have to keep spending all that big money. Maybe things aren't perfect, and that's okay. We're gonna have to kind of go back a bit to like grassrootsy feel.
Yep.
And $100, yes, while being a lot for grassrootsy feel, do you want the thing to exist or not?
Yeah, like,
fans are gonna have to kind of get a little crazy in here, you know?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to spend some money we don't want to keep this alive. Like,
And like I'm so
just being real.
it's just like, oh man, dude, fucking I don't need to hear another weekend of LTA where there's nobody in the fucking crowd.
Yeah, and put the people. Honestly, put the players in the back of the plane, bruh. You don't gotta get them first class
$100. I
if
mean,
it ain't
that
making
was
you money.
that was the other thing that I read in that is like the teams had to pay for all the travel and stay for everybody,
Really?
which I'd imagine part of the condition that Koi and those that were hosting the events were like, hey, maybe they'll cover like Koi's event, for example. If you want to come out with us, you need to pay for your own hotel and airfare. We'll cover
Oh,
everything else
I
while you're
see.
here.
Yeah.
We'll have the conditions, like, because think about it. It's like when you have a volleyball tournament in like Maryland or like any of these convention centers that they're in. Do they pay for
Mhm.
participant like housing? No, but like the host will cover. They're providing the
Mhm.
experience and the place to like do everything. If Koi's hosting the venue and everything else, they could be like, hey, teams, find a way to get yourself here. Like, come on, you gotta work at least. You gotta work with us a little bit here. We're covering every other fucking cost. You can do something here to
Yep.
distribute it a little bit more fairly.
Yep. Yeah, they could have just rode a train. That's
Yeah.
true. But it's like in America. Honestly, this is gonna be another thing. It's been a hot topic for years, and I'm gonna bring it up again. Move them to Chicago or somewhere easy to fly out of. Atlanta if
Oh
you have
fuck yeah.
to. I know that airport's annoying, but it goes everywhere. You put them somewhere way cheaper to fly than LA. LA is so expensive to get across this country, but we need to make our base a sending base place. Not what it is now. Right now our base is just our base. We need a sending base. And we don't view it as that. We need it to be something that you can get out of. Like right now we're just trapped with it. And it's not cheap to fly to LA. It's
Nope.
not fun to be in LA for people like me coming from a smaller city. Maybe for you you can handle that big city annoyance, but even then there's a crap ton of driving
Yeah.
for you that would suck because it's not like you're regularly driving. So
Yeah.
have to be spending a lot on Ubers.
And the other thing I would add, like New York is all like I know you say New York is like big city feel with LA similar. The other thing with New York is that you expect that here. But you can also get
True.
around via public transport. Like all you got to do is get to the city and guess what? From there you're fine. Buy yourself a
Dude, Vegas isn't
$120.
even a bad idea from Con.
It's not, but it still runs into the same problems. I think you have to go East Coast entirely or
You
Chicago.
do?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Yeah, that's a far flight.
It's still
But it's
it's
so
still
cheap. And think about like hosting games there, you could probably get quite a few people to stop by just to see
I
what the heck is
I'd
going
be
on.
down for that if we got a gambling sponsor.
Okay. I like what you're saying, but you know you're taking some people off of that.
I don't give a fuck. Give me a
But
gambling
I like
sponsor,
what you're
put it in
saying.
fucking LA, and guess what? Better get ready for the match
Yeah.
fixing problems, but hey, we'll deal with that when it comes. For now,
Yeah.
let Drake come in and put $1 million on this fucking League of Legends game.
Carl Cook, don't say that to me. You're being real, but it hurts. He said we're never going out of LA. Please don't say that, brother.
But I mean, that's the thing
Please.
but that's kind of fine though for me, in my opinion. Like if we go, like I know there's LA, like it's always
Yes.
funny. It is so funny to me to listen to the LA folks, like really freak out about online play whenever it's suggested. Like you hear like
Yeah.
Travis and Covey and crew and like all them being like, we can't go online. And I'm sitting here in my head thinking, I don't think you understand that between the closet and online, it makes no fucking tangible difference for us as viewers at all.
No.
It makes none. The studio, when there's people in it, makes a difference.
Mhm.
When there's not, when it's the Disguise versus Dig series, or the not Disguise versus Dig, the fucking Dig versus Lion series, and Game 3's happening, and it's hype as shit, and it's crickets in there.
Yeah.
That feels worse because I know what it's
No.
supposed to sound like. And this insane pop off play happens and nothing's happening in the background. Yeah, I'd rather it be online then. I'd rather imagine what that moment would have been like in front of a crowd than have to face the reality that I'm watching it with no crowd when they're supposed to be.
Yep. And if we're being real, like a lot of us have been online for 11 years now, pal. I'm in year 11 and I've been pretty much online the whole time. I've only had the opportunity to go to one event in Detroit, and then I've been unfortunately deployed in other military things that do end up pulling me away for the
Yep.
rest of them. And I've had opportunities to go, I just haven't been able to make it work because the army calls. But the some of us have been onlining for a minute, man, and it's like honestly, most of the people left are online. Like,
Here's the way
I
that I look.
really don't know how big of a difference it makes.
Here's the way I look at it. I would consider me and what I do to be in the top 0.01 percentile of North American League fandom. Excluding international events, because those are different, entirely different. Just talking domestic. I have traveled for one event. One.
Hmm.
And that was the Detroit final that we both went to. And I went to that because Optic was probably going to be there and all that.
Yeah.
The fact that I have never once in 7 years of talking about the game, in addition to watching it at a casual level and then at a very serious competitive level, I mean, I fucking voted on MVPs of this league. I've never once seen a regular season game in person. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild to me that like that is a thing that I've never
It's
been.
not
But
possible.
like I'm a busy individual with a life. Like
Mhm.
a trip to LA for the weekend is not only insanely costly, but like it's just not worth it. That's like
And
that's
bills,
insane to
bruh.
me.
Bills ain't a joke.
No. No.
Like this, I know we hear it a lot, but in this economy, no, you're you're looking for people to do that. Like it is tough though. Like to travel like that. I mean, you can't even get people, bro. If Disney World is saying we're expecting a down year, you think League of Legends is gonna cook? Everybody goes to Disney World and Universal. Like if they're saying it's down, then it's gotta be down for everybody else. And you can't sit here and be like, oh, people can just travel easy. It's like, dude, it's so hard
Speaking of
to
that,
travel.
it's another week,
You need
Riot.
time off.
It's another week.
True. We don't know where it is.
Where's the announcement for finals? I know where it's gonna be at. You can say it at any time you want.
At this point,
Tell
though,
us.
it's gonna be like so hard to get there and book stuff.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be insane.
Like even though you know, like what if it changes? Like the leak is wrong, and you bought the wrong thing. So you gotta wait until it's official, and so then you're still waiting. And by the time you finally get that official announcement, you think in like gonna 2 months out ish book that plane ticket and things, put my leave in for work,
Yep.
get all that stuff approved, because my work by then might be like, hey bro, no, we want you here, and there's plenty of people who've put in leave. Sucks to suck. You're here, pal. We got you. And I'm gonna be like, well, that sucks. Now I'm kind of trapped, and they don't care. They do not care at all.
I'm hoping there's a holdup on like the venue side that's preventing it. But even then, you should still tell people the general
Yep.
weekend in the city that it's gonna be in, because I know you can fucking do that right now, and they're not, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean the idea they have of making a genius announcement video is like, bro, just drop it.
Just say it.
Some things you can just drop. They don't gotta look that pretty.
No.
Like, you
Ugh.
gotta at least tell people, because it's. I mean, I already know there's no way I can go because I have
Yeah.
a ton of stuff booked out between now and then.
Unless the team pays for me to go, I can't go.
Yeah, it's like I can't go because I'm changing to actual recruiting.
Yeah.
And I don't think a team is going to look at me when I'm 2 weeks in and go, I got this video game thing I want to go to. And they're going to be like, sure? They're going to be like, no, bro. You got to work.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that does suck. It's like if they were in Chicago and they were regularly road tripping between, I would say between Atlanta, Chicago, like one of the Texas places, just pick one. There's so many cities there. Like then go out to your LA, and did I say New York yet?
No.
Okay, New York as well. Those are all your big cities in America you can hit that would make it justifiable for about anybody to get to. Like if you're a Floridian, you can fly to Atlanta pretty easily and it's cheapish. If you go to Chicago, anyone from really Michigan through Kentucky can reasonably find themselves driving for a weekend to Chicago. New York covers pretty much most of that
The entire northeast
northeast
corridor is
chunk
fine.
up there. Yeah, they'll figure it out. And LA, and then pick somewhere up northwest
Yeah.
that you want. And maybe a Canadian thing too. Like those are all your big things, but you don't even have to hit all those obviously. The goal is to hit those bi-yearly, I would say.
Yeah.
Hit some of those cities in a pocket and hit them and just get to them. But instead, we've made the very conscious effort that we're going to pick very niche places. One of them was like Raleigh, North Carolina, and they were like, we didn't get the response we wanted on Easter weekend. And it's like, yeah, okay, bro. I don't know what you want. Like, that's such a weird place to pick. You could have picked like go and then they're like Newark, which is pretty much New York.
It's pretty
So
much
it
New York. Yeah.
pretty much counts, so that's fine. They hit that one, I'm like, that makes sense.
The venue was
But
just
when
too
you go
big
to
for that one.
Raleigh, it was too big. When you go to Raleigh, I'm like, okay, the decision makers need to start thinking about the cities they're choosing.
Yeah.
Because if you want to hit a niche place, at least, oh, was the last second pivot?
Was it from where? Was it supposed to be Canada? I don't remember that being a pivot, was it?
Might have been Canada.
Huh. Son of a bitch.
But-
I didn't.
In my head, it says like, okay, you try Chicago. If Chicago says no, or they just don't have anywhere, you look down to Indy, which is a realistic drive still for any of those places I just mentioned, between Michigan, all those. You look down to Indy. Indy also says no, you still have Michigan, which Michigan is still a realistic drive. The only reason I said Indy before Michigan is because you still keep that Kentucky, Tennessee is now within range, and that becomes something you can consider. But you keep it in those general two areas, there is something there.
Yeah.
But instead, I mean,
Yeah, I would love to go back to Pittsburgh for a weekend. That'd be so much fun.
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they picked Pittsburgh at this point.
I would love for the upcoming finals.
No, if like they
Oh.
did something to pick Pittsburgh, I would be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Chicago hasn't had one in a minute. They would never go back. They need to hit Pittsburgh. Let's make it as difficult as possible for Indiana peeps and Illinois peeps, even though Illinois is a huge state. And Ohio isn't like unreasonably far from there. But I guess at least Ohio would get some representation.
Ohio
with
gets
Pittsburgh.
there. Philly can get there in 5 hours. DC
Yeah.
and Baltimore can cut their way up. Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like too many times I think they pick a place where I'm like, that is so difficult to get for so many people.
And we're not big enough to go to these small market places. We need to go big market for now.
Yeah, we do.
Especially like
That's true.
the underlying part of this is like you need to go to places with an Asian hub. You do.
Yeah,
And
that's true too.
Like the reality is that's
Facts.
all along the East Coast and West Coast and the ports and the main flying spots. That's it. It's an Asian dominated game.
That's crazy. If they had a final in my backyard out of principle, I wouldn't know. That's a great comment.
Oh god. All right, we got like 20 minutes left. Let's talk about the actual games.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, the reason why I'm not like for those that are wondering, it's like, oh, they went like an hour and 40 minutes without talking about the games this upcoming weekend. First and foremost, other big headlines that we had to discuss.
Sure.
2, my team's not playing, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit
And
here and tell you that like
do we
I'm like,
talk about my
stream lagging. Oh the Wi-Fi is cutting down. Hang on, let's just make sure. and this doesn't die entirely and have to restart like it has done occasionally the last few days. But I'm looking at mine's at like a red bar of network
It's still
connection.
playing for me.
It's probably still playing, but it's probably lagging a little bit.
It is.
And it's starting to go back up. Nope, it's still red. For context, I'll show my screen real quick so that people can see.
Yeah, it's definitely lagging a little.
Yeah, for context, I know this is going to cause the zoom. This little number here at the bottom is like the
Bro,
network.
is that rain? Hey, yo.
A lot of rain,
Yeah.
but that
It
that
is
number at the
wind.
bottom there is the one that's like the network thing.
Ah,
Internet as of late has been kind of having
great.
some problems.
More tornado warnings. Bunch of goofballs.
YouTube stream not lagging. Okay, well, at least YouTube's fine. I don't know.
Come at
Speak
me.
of possibly going to Navi. I'd be shocked if he did. There's no way. But oh no. So let's talk about games this weekend. We got what, FlyQuest versus Shopify and TL versus C9. Do we have anything to say on the FlyQuest Shopify series, or are you just ready to get your booty blasted for 2 hours straight?
I think it would be very nice if we could replace Palafox. It would give me great joy. I think he is genuinely the only thing, like, actually holding us back in a way that I think is like a mid-season replacement of him would save us. Like, genuinely might make us actually competitive. But he is just so bad it's impossible. And also it doesn't help that well, it doesn't help that we just sucked in TL, like leveled up 1,000,000%, and UG it turns out is a dog. That's kind of tough.
I need to see him for a second weekend. I get everybody
Well,
being
you're gonna
super
get a
high
good
on it.
test.
I'm sorry. I could have won that game with how Core JJ was counter jungling. Fucking
Yeah, Core
contracts in
JJ was
game
playing
1.
out of his mind.
Game 2, I will give Yuji, sure. But like game 1, let's be real. That was just a team
was painful.
slaughter.
It was painful. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. It was one of those series where I was watching it, but I was at work
Ah,
and I was focusing on the series at first, not working very well, and told myself I need to lock into work. And I came back and started doing the old classic, let's skip ahead to some kills and
Yep.
we'll see where this game has gone. And there hit a point where I was just like, what else needs done? I said that to my boss. I was like, what else needs done? Because I think this one's over. I was like, this ain't good, bro. I was like, I don't want to watch this. I'm gonna go back and watch the highlights. I ain't gonna study this. I don't need to study the play. We're bums. And it was just bad. I mean, it hurt. I was more locking in to watch what was it, the C9 Fly series from the day before, because I didn't really watch it well.
yeah.
And I wanted to sit down and actually watch it, and Fly is just so good, bro, when they want to be. When they want to be, they're insane.
Yeah, to Lunar Point. Wait, who are you replacing Palafox with?
My grandma, bro, it don't matter who. Just put somebody in there with hands. Like, dog, I'll take anybody. I beg you. A mid laner. Go on the ladder, look through the top 200. Is he signed to a tier 1 team? If no, come on, buddy. Welcome to the team. You've made it. You've been promoted to tier 1. Here's a salary.
You've been promoted to senior manager.
Yeah. You are now one of my elite employees. That's what you can hit him with. Any solo queue mid laner. I do not care, bro. Like, I've seen enough. Like, at this point, you might as well take a shot at the ladder, because you can at least see maybe this guy has talent. Because we know we don't have talent in our mid lane right now.
Yeah.
I mean, bro was based for that one comment he made where they said, what do you love in life? And he said boobies. That was a great comment. And I will love him forever for that. But other than that, it's not been great. It just hasn't been.
Oh god.
It's been tough.
It was
But I mean, yeah.
it was so funny. Did you watch Pros this week? They had Palafox on there. It was Palafox, APA, and Quid.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
And they're like,
Good watch.
who's your top 3 mid? Like Quid, like they're trying to call out Loki. And they're like, Loki ain't that great. And
Dang.
Quid's like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. And APA just looks at him and like points like a hypothetical microphone. It's like, is Loki in your all pro top 3? And he's like, no. And Palafox just looks over and is like, yeah, he ain't that good. And I'm sitting there like, damn, when Palafox is over here saying that he
Yikes.
ain't that good, and you want Palafox
Yikes.
dropped, I was like, who? Who?
I mean, honestly, let's be real here. Call up Griffin and tell him play mid lane for a split, bro. Let's just see how you are. Let's get you under contract. That's all we need. Show us that LS mid lane. Play your Malzahar, Annie, Soraka, whatever BS LS taught you in Korea, and
Oh god.
show us how it's done. Because it just ain't it when I watch it. I mean, because honestly, what, Lion is out now, right?
Lion's
Lion
out,
and
yeah.
DSG. I mean, Lion, honestly, that was a huge disappointment for me. I thought they were going to be better than that.
I was not surprised. Lion never impressed me all year. Like I was never once really all that hyped on him. Who am I replacing Blabber with? Griffin. Griffin. Yes. Assuming 100 Thieves doesn't get him, Griffin.
I mean, assuming TL. Well, they don't now.
No,
they got
don't.
UG.
They got Yuji. They're fine.
Dang. Yeah, it's C9 then. They probably got the most money.
Has to be.
Because FlyQuest don't need him. They have probably one of the best junglers alive in NA.
I don't know.
Inspired is reaching a dangerous territory of like one of the best NA junglers ever. If they like start winning a lot.
They have to win a lot though, don't they?
Well,
Like,
he won with EG.
he won with true. He won with EG. He's now won with FlyQuest. He's got one title with FlyQuest now. I think they need to win.
Mhm.
He needs to win at least 1 or 2 more before I'm willing to put him in there. He's individually
so?
talented. Yeah. Think about how many
Yeah,
titles.
Xmithy had
Smithy
4.
is so good.
How many did Xmithy have? A lot.
At least 4. He got 4 with TL alone.
5, because he has a CLG one. 4 with TL. I'm gonna guess 5. Somebody can prove me wrong.
Does he have any more?
But-
Was it just one? What about? No, he never won with Immortals.
He
It
never
was
won with
just-
anybody else.
Yeah, I think it'd just be 5. So either way, you got to get to at least 3, maybe 4 for me to entertain the conversation that he's better than a Smithy all time.
Yeah.
Individually, yeah, I think he's more mechanically gifted.
It's
Sure.
so hard too, though, with 3 splits. I feel like it's all
the
changed because
weighting
I don't
is
want to give
god-awful.
people credit for too much. I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird.
It fucks with
But
the history
Inspired
of it.
is getting. He's just so good. I think he's nearing one of the better junglers we've ever seen in NA, and he's still pretty young. He has a lot of time to still.
I would say
cook.
he's already top 5. Smithy,
Yeah, because what it would be.
Smithy, Meteos. I'd throw Blabber up there.
Blabber, yeah.
Inspired.
Svenskeren?
And Svenskeren, yeah, that would be my 5.
Okay.
What order you
An
want to put him
amazing
in? Fine,
Twitter.
but,
What, have you ever seen his stuff since he's got off the deep end?
he replies to a few things of
Super
mine
deep end.
occasionally.
Does he?
Yeah, it's always so weird to see him in there.
Dude, I remember loving him on TSM, and then he left, had his troubles elsewhere. And then on Twitter one day, I just saw him go completely psycho mode, and I just went, all right, that's an unfollow.
Yep.
Him, Loco Doco, that was so fast. Probably the fastest ex-TSM player I've ever unfollowed.
Really?
Or like coach was Loco Doco. I saw that man get deep into NFTs and talk about all this other stuff, and I just went, "You're too much for me. Go be great. You go be great." And I unfollowed him.
That was the same for me with fucking Kaizen.
Was it?
Yeah, like I followed
Oh
most of like the
yeah,
broadcast talent, and I was like,
yeah.
I mean I don't unfollow
I
people
never
all that
followed him.
often, but I was like then like I just there was one tweet
Yeah,
that randomly popped up, and he went like full crypto MAGA like off the Elon deep end. And I was like,
still very
what
into it.
the fuck did I just watch? Like what happened
Yeah,
here? Whatever.
yeah. He's something else. But I mean, I'm looking at the rest of it. I mean, I would say, because you guys get the week off,
Yeah, we get to just chill.
odds are we meet you.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
right? We would play you, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because assuming you guys lose, you're automatically the lowest seed and would play the highest seed of the bottom things, which would be us.
What's the bracket look like?
The brackets they don't explain it, unfortunately.
Yeah, the bracket doesn't explain nothing. But it says, because it says on here we play Dig, but I don't think we would.
No, I think you would play us. You know, at least you should.
Yeah, Dig was fourth. Okay. So a fourth seed beat a third seed, so we would play you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Because
all
Dig
that matters is
upset.
playoff seeds now. You are 4, we are 5.
Oh, you're 5?
Yeah, there's only 6
How'd you
teams.
get the 5th seed?
It was like a tiebreaker with like overall game record because we had like the best game record compared
Because then
to
you play DSG, who's ranked down 1.
yeah, but it was total game record across the entire
Oh, okay.
group
So
stage.
DSG had a chance to get 5th seed
I think they
if
did.
they
Yeah.
upset.
Well, not only if they upset, but if they upset and then their record was also still better than what Diggs
Okay.
was overall. So yeah,
Bruh,
there was a chance of that. But regardless, like we are 5 seed.
stinky format. Chuck that in the trash.
Agreed.
Stinky.
Agreed. Bye bye. Like they'll need it back.
Yeah.
But I think it's this weekend should be pretty cut and dry. It should be a Shopify 2-0. And then I'll be honest with you, I think it's a TL 2-0. Or sorry.
Yeah.
It's best. Why am I saying 2-0? It's best of 5 full
3-0.
fearless. 3. It's going to be a full 3-0 for you guys. I can see Cloud9 taking a game, nothing more.
We take a game.
No, you don't. Don't fucking lie. No, you don't.
We took a game earlier.
There's no like this is a different fly quest. It's playoff fly quest. You are not taking a game.
Ah, pish posh. It's
We
a
want-
different us. We were thrown off because we didn't have film.
Yeah,
That's what
what
caught
it
us
was.
off guard. We didn't have film.
That's what it was. Sure.
Yep. It's my story and I'm sticking to it.
That's your truth, and you will live it till the day that you die.
But if Core is playing like Core is playing right now,
It's over.
then yeah, it's a 3-0
3-0.
for TL. And we're doing the NA Classic since last summer. It's TL and Fly and everybody else.
I mean, the biggest question is whether 100 Thieves can like you need 100 Thieves or C9 to step up. I saw people still saying
Okay.
that like, oh, C9's favored in this. C9 is not favored in this matchup this weekend.
Not for me. But
They-
I can
they-
see how C9 fans would still feel good.
Yeah, I can see how they would feel good, but like if we're putting odds on it, which one of them has won like every best of 5 and 3 that they've played against each other in like in playoff moments over the last 2 years, give or take? It's been TL. Like yeah,
Yeah.
TL chucked or TL lost their best of 3 earlier. But again, I hate to say it's Spawn Diff, but it's fucking Spawn Diff. Like they're
It
a
is a
different
Spawn
team
Diff.
when he's there. And that's the that's the worst part that the C9 fans are going to have to like eat away at after this weekend is like if you get your shit pushed in by TL, I'll be honest with you. I think Reaper's got to go at that point. Like I said about Blabber before, maybe it's not Blabber, but it's at least got to be Reaper at a minimum. When you're running into the same problems over and over again with different players, Reaper's on the hot seat this weekend, without question.
Yeah, I mean they're also just in a bad. I don't know. I just feel like their roster doesn't have a lot you can do with it. I mean, I know you want like stable vets with young flashy guys in some positions, but none of their vets feel like they feel like they're stable enough to beat the bad, but not stable enough to really compete with the great.
I wouldn't even say stable. Like they don't have that extra gear to kick in. When playoffs comes and everybody else gets better, like this is the narrative that I'm setting up for people already. Is like if C9 plays 100 Thieves, I think 100 Thieves wins that game.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that in your video. You're setting up stuff.
Oh jeez. I legitimately Smithy has 6 per lunar. He won 2016 spring and 2015 summer.
Oh yeah, CLG won 2 in a row, didn't they?
I guess that was before my time. So
I forgot about that.
that's your fault. You're the historian pre 2018, not me.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now,
Yeah.
the narrative that I see happening again is 100 Thieves went through their rut in the middle of the season. Scrims were bad. And all of a sudden, guess what? Shit starts getting real quick here, especially after that Shopify loss. We start cleaning it up. Now we have 2 weeks to just prep and get ready for what will probably be a layup series against you guys, assuming we're in form. If we demolish you guys, or at least look good against you guys, oh, fucking give me C9. Give me C9, please.
True.
We will beat the shit out of them. Like, that's the part that I'm most excited for is, like, think about how creative we can get in draft compared to everybody else. Like, we are the fucking Vygar Shaco team. Like, we can pull out fucking anything on your head and you will not be ready for it. And we got a best of 5, so we can just, like, we can afford to chuck a game or two away if we want.
Yeah, and if you have momentum, it's pretty big. I know, like, momentum is a fake stat that people hate. Some people hate, but momentum is legit. Sometimes. I mean, you just get your mojo back and you go in there and you cook people.